Nigeria might be on its way to bankruptcy if the federal government continues to borrow funds. This is according to economist and managing director of Cowrie Assets Management Limited, Johnson Chukwu. In an interview on TV360's flagship program, Deji 360, Chukwu explained that the federal government's decision to borrow additional money to fund the 2022 subsidy might not be the best. The federal government has last week announced that Nigeria might have to borrow more to fund the 3 trillion naira requested by the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited to fund petrol subsidy in 2022. Reacting to this, Chukwu maintained that the federal government cannot afford to fund the 2022 budget, adding that its decision to renege on the subsidy removal agreement needs to be reviewed.
If we invest 3 trillion naira in critical infrastructure in the country, the impact will be so huge that we will begin to narrow the infrastructural gap we have in this country. How much are we spending to do the Lagos-Ibadan Express Road? How much are we spending to do any of the major roads, including the roads that they've been borrowing money from Sukuk to do? If, unfortunately, and I've said this, I want to repeat it, if we continue this route, we are going to certainly bankrupt this country in the not too distant future. There's no way the country can afford to borrow 14 trillion naira in the fiscal year just to fund subsidy and fund recurrent expenditure and fund debt service. Most of the expenditure government is incurring now are basically to just pay debt service, pay subsidy, and pay the overhead of civil servants. We are not so much investing in infrastructure, and we're borrowing to invest in recurrent expenditure without investing in infrastructure. What happens is that when you do that, you are not building the capacity to increase the revenue of the government. And that means the burden of paying those debts or paying interest on those debts will increase, intensify, as to the point you get a point where it becomes difficult for government to pay its obligations as it relates to interest and principal repayment because its revenue will be swallowed up.